we have with us Dan McCrady of HOAst. They are an electronic voting platform for community associations. Dan, can you tell us a little bit about your company?
Sure. Our company is HOAst. It's pronounced HOAst, and it began operations around 2013. We were the first electronic voting software in Florida that was compliant to the statutes back in 2015. We were at an expo in Florida in early 2015, and they passed the statutes to allow electronic voting in July. So we were right on the scene, ready to go. And since then, our office moved to St. Petersburg, Florida, and we're all about Florida electronic voting. And that's where our expertise lies. My background is as a government worker, an IT person. I received the Presidential Award from President Reagan, and Eileen was the senior executive in IRS that set up and got established on the electronic submission of your tax return, e-file.
Really?
So since she had the
you guys have been holding out on me. I did not know any of this.
Yeah. So since Eileen was part of all that security that's involved in taking some data that you think is very sensitive, or over the internet, and sending it from one spot to another, and my expertise was in designing data and designing software, we put together and said, this is perfect. We'll be in Florida and we'll do electronic voting.
What's the difference between using a platform like yours and trying to do this stuff internally the way some community associations try to do? I know some say, well, we don't have that many homes, or we don't have enough units to really pay for a electronic voting service. We're gonna try doing this on our own. What is your response to something like that?
Well, I hope when you say do it on our own, you mean via paper, because it's very expensive and very complex to have an electronic voting platform. Florida makes it very difficult. Florida is the hardest state in the union for doing electronic voting. And Florida uses rules that are unique across the nation. They're the only state that has rules that are such that no other state can bring their electronic voting platform into Florida without significant tweaking, because Florida is so unique. But certainly, if I had a community of only 10 addresses, I might be able to handle everything without electronic voting and to save that expense. Somewhere around the number of between 25 and 50 is probably the place where you begin seeing the most benefit. Unless, of course, if you have only 10 addresses in your community and some of those are overseas, a lot of times the overseas vote is just a lost vote. So the fact that we don't have electronic voting would disenfranchise that voter and would make a negative impact on meeting quorum. So if you have a small community and everybody's living locally, it probably is something that you don't need.
I would think even just, you said overseas, but even out of state voters, I would think that having electronic voting would help them focus in on their community responsibilities while they're not around.
Absolutely. When they're overseas, and let's say we give them 2 weeks, we put the postal mail goes out 2 weeks ahead of time, we know that we're not going to get it to them back in 2 weeks. So that's for sure. But you're right, the voting mail-in service is getting a little bit slower now. I mailed a Christmas card to my daughter in Ohio, and she didn't get it in 2 weeks. So things have slowed down a lot, and we either have to allow for a lot more time for the postal mail to catch up, or electronic voting is the simplest solution.
Well, if you have somebody that thinks they can do this in-house via email, that's not correct.
Email is not legal in Florida for doing electronic voting. It's not legal to, you have two misconceptions. The first one is it's not legal to vote via email. It's also not legal to vote via touch-tone phone. So we can't do the phone service and we can't do the email service. The statute lays out the criteria and is fairly strict and requires a high degree of security and safeguard of the information. And there's probably nothing less secure than email. So it makes sense that email would not be an appropriate way to submit your vote. I should back up and tell you that I'm responding primarily regarding condos, HOAs, and co-ops. The timeshares in Florida can vote by email. So I don't mean to exclude them. I just don't normally think about timeshares in our area of doing business with electronic voting.
Well, and I think to the BMI audience, we really don't have, not that I'm aware of, that we have anybody that manages timeshares.